Hello, welcome to At Home Radio, which is about feeling at home, whether we're in our own space or out in the world. I'm Kate Thomas, and my guest today is Justin Allen Hayes, author of The House of You, 5 Workforce Preparation Tips for a Successful Career. Justin is a senior digital marketing professional. He's also a marketing department adjunct professor at Walsh University in the Canton, Ohio area. Justin, thank you for being here today to talk about your book.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This 95-page volume is filled with tips, stories, and workbook pages derived from your own experience. So, why did you write The House of You, 5 Workforce Preparation Tips for a Successful Career?
I wrote them for students, so students looking for internships, students graduating, for individuals that have experience and are looking to possibly advance their career, move to possibly another area due to maybe a significant other has received a job offer in a different area, and also for those unfortunate times where sometimes we find ourselves in between positions and wanted to have some tips and information and an easy to read, useful format for any of those demographics.
Okay, very good. So how did you go about writing this book? For instance, did you take notes on everything you did to find a job when you were between positions?
I did, and the book started out as basically 10 points that I had put together, just kind of 1 to 10, that I wanted to talk about with my students in class. I didn't want to just cover the marketing content. As an adjunct, the reason they bring us on, one of the reasons, is to bring our professional experience. And so I wanted to bring some of that to the table as well as someone with that professional experience that could really hand some of that information in a coach-like, advisor-like position. And so each class, I would literally go through one of those bullet points, maybe 5 or 6 minutes in class. And then I did find myself in between positions, and I did have a little bit of time, and I wanted to formalize that information, not only for myself, but for others in my classes. And the way the job market and Amazon is across basically the world, to have the information available to anybody, whether they are, whether it was 2017 when I was putting it together, or now we're 2020 during a pandemic.
Yes. So actually, and I like this about how you expanded the topic. This book is more than about finding a job. It's really about building a foundation for a successful career. Is that right?
It is. And for that foundational aspect, or that in between the position. And then the last 15% is really when you do have a position, looking at performance reviews and how you can maximize your time and your performance at the company you're at, as well as those times that you want to update your resume, and whether that is for an internal position or an external position, that really gives the individual, the reader, the ability to make those pivots from, okay, I have a position, now where do I find myself? Am I advancing at the rate I feel I should, or am I advancing at the rate that I don't think I should? And then those external factors as well to come into play.
Right. And, sometimes you find yourself in a position that isn't exactly what you envisioned it to be, and you see something else within the company that you'd rather do. And it's making that case for yourself to be able to move from one position to the next and to show, well, I've done this and this and this, and I've grown in this way.
Absolutely. And one area I do talk about is mentors, and that is having someone that you can talk about that talk with about the company that you're with, which I call an internal mentor, so inside of the company that you're in, and then an external mentor. I recommend having a couple of both if you can. And those external mentors would be the individuals that, if you were looking for a position outside of the company, or those just life experiences that happen that you don't want to talk about within the four walls of your company, or virtually with your company. And that way you have some individuals that are on your side, that are advocates for you. So the internal mentors, they're able to advocate for you if they're in an area that you do find yourself and say, hey, I want to take a look at maybe shadowing somebody in this department. Those mentors are able to set those up much easier than if you just say, hey, I want to look at shadowing somebody in the accounting department. I don't know anybody in accounting or finance. It just makes that transition that much easier.
And they can serve as a great sounding board for you. You can bounce ideas off of them and say, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Or maybe they would give you another direction to go into.
Absolutely. And that's the goal, is to have options and have somebody that you can bounce ideas off and who can give you recommendations based off of their experience. And then you, as the individual, you can make the decisions that are best suited for yourself.
So your audience for this book is basically recent graduates or people in college who are about to graduate, and young professionals. And I know you spoke when you had all the tips and everything. You spoke to classes about that, students about that. Did anybody tell you how they used your tips, your advice?
They did. A lot of the feedback I get is on the front half, the front, maybe 2/3 of the book, just how to get started, what to do, how do I put a resume together. And if I'm in college, when I go to the career services department, what type of information are they going to want? What's going to make my time there happen the quickest to get my resume completed? And so that was the thought in mind, to have those individuals be able to literally take the workbook pages to career services or to a coach that maybe a family member or a friend is, and really work through that process. So the ease of kind of that process has been helpful. And then those students that I've had in class that do go on to start their professional career, the performance review information about how to highlight their good accomplishments internally and then externally to put on their resume, or they're just things that have really come to mind and help them of just getting on a cadence. And so it's not a hurry up and rush to do something like it was for me when I was in between one of my first kind of transition points, where it was, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for things. And I really wasn't prepared. And I didn't have anybody really to guide me to do that. And so I hope that with the book, to be able to have some of that information that can be just like an advisor and someone helpful that kind of just breaks it down transparently, especially with some of the stories I get into.
Yes. Can you give us maybe one of them that illustrates one aspect of your advice? You know, what young people can do to prepare themselves for a successful career?
Absolutely. One is, and the key that I'm recommending now, is their personal brand. So everything that the person does from kind of the time that they wake up till they go to bed, everything on social media, to their resume, to a LinkedIn profile, to a job application, to phone conversations with recruiters or hiring managers. It is really about not just, can you do this job? It is more about, are you an individual that can represent our company well? And are you looking to grow? And what areas do you want to grow? And then on the flip side of that is, show me some of those tips and portfolio information that you have put together in your classes. A lot of my students think that, hey, I'm just a college student. When I go to an interview, they want the recruiters and hiring managers, they want all this experience, and I don't have that. And so my big key to them is all the skills that they accumulate through their collegiate career are transferable skills. There's really nothing that a student goes through, from working with a team to presenting to working with people maybe they don't know from different cultures and backgrounds. And those are all things that are going to be helpful in the real world. And so I also recommend, hey, if you work on this project and you put together this PowerPoint slide, or you put together this paper and you have some visuals, how about just printing those out and putting that in just a simple portfolio? Go to Staples or Office Max and literally just layer in the key projects you've done. And it helps from an aspect of showing that interviewer that, hey, I am doing work and have done work that is transferable to your position that I'm interviewing for. And it allows to take some of the stress off of the interview. So if you're in an interview with, say, 3 interviewees or 3 interviewers, and everybody's just looking at you, all 6 eyes are pointing at you, it gets to be very stressful. And am I saying the right thing? But when you have that portfolio and you're able to open that up and kind of point to the different areas and the key projects you've worked on for a minute or two of that time, it takes the focus off of, everything about you, how you're dressed, what you're saying, to looking at those projects. And that was one of the feedback areas that I got personally from one of the jobs that I had earlier in my career. I had asked the hiring manager, and I had said, Terry, why did you go with me for the position? You could, I'm sure you had a pick of internal candidates and external candidates. And she said, one of the key reasons was that I showed the work that I had done previously, and I was able to really just go through that and walk them through it. And it really gave them a visual representation. So whether you're a college student or you're a veteran that's been in the workforce 15 years, a lot of the information is applicable.
Oh, that's great. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add? I saw on your website that you have a second edition, which I didn't know about. It's not linked to Amazon. Is it basically, it adds those case studies? Is that what the second edition does?
It does. It adds 5 case studies to the key content that is in the first edition, as well as some updates from 401k information and numbers that change year to year. And that's another area with the case studies of bringing that real life experience that I've lived through. And so when somebody reads a case study, it's a real case study on some experience that I had personally, not some global case study on some multinational company that is in a textbook. It is real experiences, and that's something that I've added to my class as well, and they find very beneficial versus the very large company cases.
Okay. Is the second edition available now, or do you kind of put it together with the original House of You 5 workforce preparation tips? What should people do?
They can do either or. So right now, I do now have it up on my website, thehouseofyou.com, or they can go to Amazon.com to find that. Sometimes if you do that search, the first edition will come up, but then right under the description, it'll say a newer edition available. Okay. And you can click that, and that will bring up the second edition. Okay,
very, very good. Was there anything anything else you'd like to add on this topic?
No, I'm just excited to be able to share with you and your audience. I think that no matter at what point in a career somebody is, that they can benefit from this information. And it is easy, straightforward, no secret formula or secret language to read the book. It's all right there and easy to follow.
And I think it's really helpful that you do have this deep marketing background. You are a marketing professional, because when we go out and represent ourselves, we are marketing ourselves, aren't we?
Absolutely. You don't have to be a marketing professional. You could be any person, and you're marketing yourself for a next job, a next thing, a next business, a new opportunity with somebody you just met at a conference or a virtual session. So you definitely are marketing yourself.
Yes. All right. Again, The House of You, 5 Workforce Preparation Tips for a Successful Career is available on Amazon. For more about Justin, visit his website, thehouseofyou.com, where you'll also find information on his second book, which is called The House of You Prescription for Living. This is an autobiography of mental health recovery, and is your autobiography, Justin. And yes, you can access At Home Radio's interviews with Justin about dealing with mental illness via thehouseofyou.com, the At Home Radio Facebook page, the At Home Radio YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, and At Home Radio on Twitter. And again, thank you so much for being here, Justin. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. You as well, Kate.
This is Kate Thomas with At Home Radio. Until next time, take good care.
At Home Radio. Presenter and creator, Kate Thomas. Recorded at Command Center Studio. Music and video produced by Jonathan, the producer.